Thank you, whoever did that. Welcome, everyone. I'm Gloria Matera, co-chair of the Green Party of New York. We really appreciate all of you coming. We have a really great response to this forum. I know many people have been attending forums. A number of you are outside of New York, which is great to have you here. I also want to say that a number of you said in your responses that you are willing to help us petition. So you will be hearing more about that from us in the next week or so. Our petitioning will start in April, and I think many of you know that it will be a rather big lift for us since the law was changed by the disgraced former Governor Cuomo a couple of years ago. Tonight we have Jasmine Sherman, Jorge Zavala, and standing in for Jill Stein will be her campaign manager, Jason Cole. Jill became ill earlier today with food poisoning, and try as she might, she was really unable to join us, which is a disappointment, but we know Jason will be able to fill in for her. So we're going to start off. We already worked on the order. We will have 3-minute opening statements. It will be Jasmine, Jason for Jill, and then Jorge, and then we will reverse that at the end. We have disabled the chat so that everybody can focus on what our candidates are saying. We have taken the questions a number of you have sent in, tried to consolidate them, and we'll be asking those first. If there's time, we will be able to open up and see if we have a few more questions that can be answered. So I'm going to turn it over to Jasmine.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jasmine Sherman, and I am seeking the nomination to be your presidential candidate in the 2024 upcoming election. One of the things that I hope people learn from this presentation is about my platform is about action. It isn't about legacies. It isn't about the prolonged future. It's about making changes that impact people immediately. It requires us to end houselessness in the first 90 days, provide people with universal health care, including dental, vision, prescription care, holistic care, and this does include doulas and choice of practice. We're going to provide people with education. This is a Montessori system that provides smaller classrooms and better resources for teachers and staff. We put mental health back in the classroom, or in the classroom for the first time ever, the same way you would have a math class, a science class. We put that back into making sure we teach people compassion. One of the other things that is going to help Americans with the Sherman platform is universal basic income. People are suffering today. They can't afford for us to waste time not providing them with access, as more people are losing their jobs. More people are seeking help from leadership and their government. I plan to be somebody that helps them. I plan to be a resource. What we need to do is make sure we abolish prisons and abolish police. This means that even though there are rumors that I support the death penalty, that is not accurate. And it means that we are going to focus on rehabilitating the person. We are going to focus on making sure people's basic human rights are protected. They're non-negotiables. And everything in my platform is actionable within the first quarter. I like to keep it brief. I hope you consider listening more as we answer questions. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Jasmine. So we'll stop the clock and hand it over to Jason.
Thank you. Once again, I apologize for Jill not being able to be here. She really wanted to. She is very ill right now. She is recovering. And one of the reasons that she made a decision to not be here tonight is that we are this Friday embarking on a 3-week 15 state road trip, and she needs to get herself healthy for that. We'll be starting out in Las Vegas, moving to Southern California, going to Portland, Seattle, Morgantown, West Virginia. We'll be meeting with residents of East Palestine. We'll be meeting with residents of Flint, Michigan, and Benton Harbor, Michigan, areas that have been impacted by predatory corporate governance. And the residents of East Palestine are still not recovered, and the federal, state, and local authorities are not meeting their needs, not meeting their healthcare needs, not meeting their house care needs. And so we're really working to stand up for those people. And we'll be moving on to Indiana and Chicago and Racine, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and Minneapolis. In addition to participating at the invitation of the California and New York Libertarian Party, they're not calling them debates, they're forums where we'll be able to be on stage with RFK Jr. head to head and show that our policies are far better than his. So we look forward to those opportunities, but we have a really full plate in the next 3 weeks, and just letting you know that Jill needed to get herself healthy this week so that she can do that extensive traveling that we have. I know a lot of you know Jill. She ran for president in 2012 and 2016. We have a platform that is in development right now. We have some of the best economic minds working on our platform, and I'm a policy person myself. I should say I'm Jill's campaign manager. I forgot to say that. That's why I'm standing in for her. And so we have a team of some of the best minds right now putting together a platform that not only is in full alignment with the Green Party pillars and principles, but also is presented in a way that people understand how the economics of it work. And so we look forward to having that platform up on the website by the end of February. We get a lot of questions about, specific policies, and I want people to know that that is forthcoming. It's in development right now, and it is extensive. We have been meeting the last month, 2 months with local
30
leaders.
seconds, Jason.
Thank you. Jill spoke at the Rally for Palestine in DC, and from that we have made great connections with Muslim communities all over the country, indigenous communities. Jill was in Eden, North Carolina on Saturday with water protectors protesting the Mountain Valley Pipeline. I'll leave it at that. We are a campaign of action and for the people and the planet and for peace. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll turn it over to Jorge. Oh, just you're on mute.
Thank you. I'm here to serve and protect the Constitution. Now we know the policies and the reform needs to happen. It's grown in a way that's not bearing any fruit for the people. I'm here to strengthen the American dollar. I want to convert the American dollar and back it by the techno dollar, as it was done with the petrodollar, by bringing Taiwan into American soil, safeguarding the technology that are dominance and protection of the United States future. Converting over the pesos into the American dollar, helping these third world countries restructure themselves so that they don't have to be coming here, they can stay there and still enjoy the benefits of a democracy. I'm here to strengthen democracy by enforcing inclusion, transparency, and accountability. I want you to know that we're at a crossroads. I'm here to serve, and you know that the people don't care, that they're being paid off, and they have a different agenda. Once you accept this, you want to take somebody in your hands that knows the difference, that's been there, that can justify the means and the way, that has a practical experience to strengthen this economy and to bring it forth into a new era, bringing the green technology that is readily available now, by breaking the strongholds of the patents. We got to restructure our foundation. Again, these policies and agendas are all laid out on my on the website. The Constitution for Palestine has already been created. It just needs to be followed and taken into place. So I'm setting the path for everyone to follow. There's only one path. There's really only one way. Eventually, my agendas will come to light. So by laying this down, the framework, knowing the direction, having the experience of negotiation and the placement is where we need to be. So again, I want you to vote for me, Jorge Zavala, your next presidential candidate. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Peter Lavinia for the first set of questions, and then I will be your timekeeper, 2 minutes and a 30-second warning.
All right, thank you. We're going to go in the same order. We'll start with Jasmine Sherman. And the first question is, what is your campaign doing to obtain ballot access?
We have our supporters out there collecting signatures and petitions already. Another thing that we are doing is spreading the word about mutual aid. A lot of the people that support my campaign are already activists within their community. One of the biggest issues that we have noticed, though, in trying to get new people to participate in the Green Party is a lot of the local leaders or chapters have not done a good job of reaching back out to our new interested individuals that are trying to join the Green Party. So we're doing several things, trying to grow the Green Party and make sure that our ballot access is secure with signatures. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jason for Jill.
Thank you. Additionally to the 19 states that the Green Party has a ballot line in, we have just recently secured access in Hawaii and West Virginia and are waiting for confirmation from South Dakota. And we currently have petitions in Nevada, Ohio, Alaska, and we're gearing up for Pennsylvania and Massachusetts and Georgia. And we look forward to strong petitioning in New York. And in fact, I am here in Idaho right now. I'm actually a Washington resident. I live a little bit north of Seattle, but traveled cross state this morning to Idaho, and I'm going to be spending all week in Idaho with a team gathering signatures for the ballot access in Idaho. And you may not know, but the Green Party is essentially non-functional in Idaho, and our goal here in getting the Green Party on the ballot in places that it hasn't been before is to make sure that we can grow the Green Party in places like Idaho. If people know that we're here, some of the things that we are hearing from people as we are collecting signatures is we haven't even heard of the Green Party. So it is important for us to be on the ballot so that people in places that have not heard of the Green Party can now hear about the Green Party and what our mission is and join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Jorge.
Yes, thank you. I'm trying very hard to be on the ballots. As Jasmine had mentioned earlier, there's been a lack of participation. There's been a favoritism, and that support needs to be strengthened. I guess the reorganization and support of the ballot committees. We have challenges, and they're real. And these challenges we really got to expose. We need more transparency in this ballot process, and we need more inclusion in order to be successful. Our merits are not bearing what they're supposed to. So yeah, the ballots is very important. I'm doing the best that I can to be on everywhere that I can. I'm sending hundreds of thousands of emails and posting to get people to understand and accept, wanting to be on the ballot. So my efforts are there. I just need more participation from the individual states. A restructuring needs to happen within the Green Party itself. The lack of participation or effort or willingness needs to have a measurement. If it's not being measured, then we don't have discipline or strength to move forward on. We got to keep moving forward. We got to keep practicing, and we got to keep accepting people that want to participate. So it grows and it
30 seconds.
Then it blossoms. So the ballot, very serious, and I need further Green Party participation to make this successful.
Thank you. Our next question will first go to Jason. And it is, so many people dislike the candidates of both corporate parties. What would be the best way to persuade people to support the Green Party candidate?
Thank you. You're right. Most people have a real mistrust of the two corporate war machine parties. And what we have to do is we have to show them through our platform, through our actions, that we stand for people and planet over profits. That is the mission of the Green Party. So as I said, we're finalizing our platform, and we will have that on the website. And that is a way to direct people in terms of expressing that not only can we do the right things, that we can actually make them work functionally as an economy. So the truth is that one of the questions that people have is that how are you going to pay for it? And the truth is that a progressive socialist economy saves money when people are happy and healthy, when they have the human services that they need, healthcare, housing, good wages, education, and when they are not living in fear of tomorrow, and not just domestically, but sort of in a global sense, in a fear of tomorrow. Everyone is safer and more secure. So ensuring people's needs are met is not just the right thing to do. In fact, a government that fails to do it, as the corporate war parties have done year after year after year, is fundamentally dysfunctional. And so our goal is just to distinguish what can be done and what the corporate war machine parties try to thwart on a daily basis, at almost every level. So that's I'll
30
leave it at that.
seconds.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Jorge.
Dissolving the two parties, it's they never agree. It's a constant turmoil. It's a game, and we're the ones that are losing. So we got to dissolve these two parties. They're completely split houses is no good. Breaking out the lobbyists from this is another. They're backed by the market. The only way to really affect this, to make this change of democracy, it's people got to unite together. We got to suffocate them, just like they're on the market. We got to bring companies down by boycotting. We got to bring them down to their knees. If we all stop buying a certain item at a certain time for a certain duration, that's going to have a certain effect. It's going to make them weak. Other companies are going to look at that as an opportunity. So you can really scare them straight and put them in a lot of confusion. But we have to work together at a certain time and place. And it's got to be, this is the biggest part of democracy right here, is making the change work for the people. The people need to learn how to file petitions. They got to advocate for themselves. And some little bit of discipline is what's involved here to make this change happen. So using some diplomatic intelligence here, getting the people
30 seconds.
and driving this movement forward is, I think, the goal of the Green Party. We need to create a new structure here. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Jasmine.
People do not like the current politicians that are in office. People do not like the age of the current politicians in office. One of the ways that we have been able to go out and show people that the Green Party cares about them is through mutual aid. Staff who work for me, volunteers, we have been doing mutual aid around the country since 2021. We've been doing targeted mutual aid promoting the Green Party since August. We have found that people want you to demonstrate what your values are. It isn't enough to be a politician that no one can access or have mouthpieces that show up for you. It's about you being able to do that work. It's about, even on days when you don't feel good, still showing up for members of the community. I have found the most success at bringing new people who don't vote or people who have never heard of the Green Party into the value systems that we align with by demonstrating those in real time. Since August, we have provided people with access to mobility aids. We have interceded on their behalf when relatives have gone missing. We have made sure that there were groceries in homes. We have provided people with the tools to organize and build community. And we are very proud that the younger generation is receptive to that. They want authenticity. They want someone that is in the paint with them. And because of the way that we have been organizing and I have been running for president, we have seen amazing strides. I'm so excited to be a part of this movement because they want something different. They don't just want to hear from people who have never shown up in their community until it was
30
time to get.
seconds.
And so by being on the ground and being with people and a candidate that people have access to, we've been able to grow the Green Party locally. And that's how we're going to bring people over, by practicing what we preach. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is, we need real jobs, public works jobs, arts jobs, infrastructure jobs. Do you have a plan to create these types of jobs, and what is your vision for doing so? And we'll start this time with Jorge.
Yeah, very aggressive. This is my territory, creating jobs, having experience in the platforms, taking these people's hands. They have a lot of obstacles in creating jobs. We got to break the patents. Again, this practical green technology that's readily available here needs to take part. We got to redirect the movement of the market. The advertising, the news is misdirecting us and misguiding us. So breaking these patents, that's going to free the small entrepreneurial. Everybody in school has a future. More vocational training that's going to implement into new jobs. We need to have more tax subsidiaries for the small business owners, more incentives. Money needs to come back into the economy. It's going to the rich. It's not coming back in. Everything's being emptied out. The jobs aren't there. The morale's down. So letting everybody know they're educated, that they have an ability to create on their own, to stand as individuals, needs to be strengthened with more education. Yes, you can. Believe in yourself. You're going to fail. Try again. And we got to keep this movement going to drive the small business economy forward and stop the big tech from growing again by suffocating the big and letting the small have an opportunity to take part. So more tax incentives, more grants for small businesses, and getting more programs for the Social Security Department. There's a lot of people in there who want to work that are disabled, but the programs aren't working for them. The Maximus Ticket to Work and the PASS plan, that needs to be restructured, because there's a lot of people now can work from home.
Sorry, that's time.
And so through the COVID experience, this in itself, people can help each other remotely. So participation and getting this people.
Thank you. That's time, Jorge. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Next, we'll hear from Jasmine.
So while I value the question about Americans needing jobs, I would posit that Americans need universal basic income first. More and more employers are laying people off because of the technology advancements. So universal basic income will provide that safety net that people desperately need. It's also part of the reason, because universal basic income pays more than Social Security, we would be ending Social Security. So if you get Social Security now, you would get universal basic income. It doesn't leave you out in the cold. It protects younger workers from predatory practices. What we would be doing with my administration is infusing a bunch of different industries all at once, because we need a high-speed rail that goes from coast to coast that puts steel workers back to work. Because we are changing our education system and increasing our robust funding for education, that puts more teachers getting better raises and providing with better quality results. But that also means that new support staff has to be hired. So that creates jobs. We are also expanding healthcare in this country by providing people with universal healthcare. That allows us to bring in more people into the workforce, people who are nurses, people who haven't been able to work. We bring them back into the workforce by making education free. We give people who haven't had an opportunity to learn these skills to get those skills so they can participate in our economy. But Americans need social supports more than they need jobs. They need the ability to organize and create unions. And that is what my platform does. It doesn't just make people work for the sake of working, because we have robots, we have technology. The
30
amount
seconds.
that we are expending should be less, not more. And my platform provides jobs that younger people want to work, but also provides them a foundation to be successful should they choose not to. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Jason.
Thank you. So we support a federal jobs guarantee. We support a green economy, rebuilding old infrastructure, creating new infrastructure. For example, new green-built public housing, fiber optic broadband everywhere. And we want the government, in terms of utilities, to be in control of those as publicly owned utilities. And the new energy systems that we're going to need for a livable future are going to be a big part of that. Additionally, we support universal single-payer healthcare and universal free public education, two guarantees that go hand in hand as we build new healthcare systems and train the much-needed healthcare providers, so that the 30 million in the U.S. who have no access to healthcare because they are uninsured, and the 100 million more who are underinsured and in fear of medical bills can get the services that they need. These are all needed jobs. They are necessary to a livable and sustainable future. So we need a guarantee of full employment. I know that the current capitalist system essentially relies on an amount of unemployment and an underclass in order for the CEOs and the ownership class, the investor class, to reap their profits and keep essentially millions of people living in fear of how they're going to feed themselves, how they're going to educate their kids, and really whether they're going to have a tomorrow. So the other thing that I want to say is, while I say we want a guarantee of full employment, we fully recognize that not everybody is able to work.
30 seconds.
And part of our full employment for those who can work is making sure that those who can't work have the support services that they need.
Thank you. The next question is, do you plan to support the eventual Green Party nominee? And we will begin with Jasmine.
If I am not the Green Party nominee, I will not be giving my endorsement to the Green Party nominee. I will be running against them.
Next, we'll hear from Jason.
Our campaign is committed to ensuring the Green Party is stronger in 2024 than it has ever been. The future is relying on us. This isn't just about a candidate or even about a party per se. It's about whether we are even going to have a future. So we must put everything we have into ensuring we grow the party behind whomever the eventual nominee is. Thank you.
And Jorge.
Support, direction, focus, and drive. It's very important that we support. Even though, that's the part of the character that we pass the baton, that we move forward, that there's a direction. But this path must be clear. It must be transparent, or it will not. It must be ethics, principles. Support is important. Without support on anything, it's the waste. We must believe in each other. We must believe in the Green Party, and for a better good, we must be able to serve man, put someone in front of us than ourselves. Small sacrifices must be made, and I think it's very important to stand and deliver, to support each other, so we don't become like we were trying to fight against. Let's not be like them. Let's create a better experience for people to see. They're going to want to participate in. They play fair. They play straight. I can see the direction. I want to participate. Then we did something right. But we got to lead by example. So let the light turn on and start believing in yourselves, and people will start coming towards the light.
Thank you. The next question will begin with Jason, and it is, please tell us some of your ideas on foreign policy.
Thank you. So I'm gonna, I believe, repeat some of the things that Jill has said in the past. So, take this as me speaking for Jill here, that we have to have a cooperative foreign policy, something that we haven't had in anyone's lifetime here, I don't think. And this doesn't mean that we can't meet threats head on, but the easiest way to meet a threat is to ensure that we are not the oppressors around the world, because that's where most things that we consider threats derive from. So we don't have time to continue down this path of global hegemony and aggression. We have to come to terms with finite resources and also recognize that the path of the war machine is going to take us down also. So we are willing to work with global leaders cooperatively to ensure that Americans are safe. And that has to mean guaranteeing that we won't continue to drop bombs on the poorest people around the world so that Boeing and Lockheed can put a few more dollars in their pockets. A monopolar world is no longer possible. Full spectrum dominance is a failed project. We must find ways to cooperate, and we are committed to doing that.
Thank you. We'll hear from Jorge next.
Setting forth global trade. Again, I want to re-emphasize the techno dollar, the safeguard and advancement for the future of this planet. There's a technology that no one's talked about. It's unlicensed spectrum 6E technology. This is the technological race that the planet's fighting for. This is what the SpaceX says, 6E. Now, Taiwan is under risk. They have no protection. They're weak. They're right next to the enemy. They want to be free. Do we see a problem here? The only way to safeguard this is to bring it in to American soil so we can create dominance of technology. We safeguard the future of that technology. We restructure the trade. And we bring forth the economy. We need to start industrializing in America here and start creating slave labor over there. But we need to also create, again, the peso needs to be converted to the American dollar. Third world countries shouldn't be existing anymore, not this day of age. We're a lot smarter than that. Putting more pressure on the United Nations to restructure and reinforce the rules. We need discipline. Right now we're seeing chaos out there. And then who's to enforce it? It's always us, isn't it? It's always the leader. Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? We're not. And then why? Well, look where all the money's going in. Like mentioned before.
Sorry, it's 30 seconds.
Tied into the lobbyists, and it's going in the wrong direction. So, safeguarding America, safeguarding the technology, bringing forth our economy, and expanding the American dollar is what I plan to do.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Jasmine.
So one of the coolest things is everything I'm talking to you about is an already written, fleshed out policy. There's an audiobook feature that can read it to you if you don't have time to sit and read it. But if you go to look at my foreign policy, like I said, that's posted, we are removing ourselves from being the police of the world. We are going to try to maintain relationships that we have already tarnished and begin a new type of allyship. By closing 800 military bases and bringing our soldiers home, it puts us in the position to renegotiate all of our contracts globally. Some of that looks like the way we administer foreign aid. We're no longer going to be sending weapons. We'll be providing people with medical supplies, food, clothing, and we will also be helping them with energy production. But we will not be providing weapons and money anymore. We are going to renegotiate how we bring people into the country. Immigration is a problem that we have that we don't touch or think about in regard to our foreign allies. We have to make sure all of our trade agreements are renegotiated and not negotiated with imperialism, but negotiated with making sure that our global allies are protected and helping to be generous so people see that we are a new type of America. We have the ability to maximize our relationships in the international community once we go ahead and admit that some of the pursuits America had might have been imperialistic. Some of the forefathers we had might have been white supremacists, but we aren't those people anymore. And by me being at the helm, we definitely demonstrate that we are a different type of America. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks everyone. I'm going to take over asking questions. Peter will do time. I'm going to say up front that my dyslexia may get who is in what order confused, so please don't be insulted, just correct me if I'm wrong. What is your stance on Medicare for all? And we will hear from Jorge first.
Medicare for all. This is a good practice, helping the people, making sure that they're safe, that we have a trade of economic value in the production of the pharmaceutical companies. This is important. We have to be healthy. We got to take care of our people. But the thing is how do we do it? It always looks like we're taking away, but we got to look at this the wrong way. We're not taking away, we're giving towards the people. The people are bringing money into the economy. We have to give interest to their lives and their support, their value. They're paying taxes. Representation is what is the standard of what America is. Everybody that's in America has to have health services. You know what I mean? We cannot let people falling on the streets like that. Medi-Cal goes way farther than just getting that back pain. It goes far as its education, its treatment, you know, and where's that money going again? So as long as we can get some transparency in this recycling of the Medicare system, and making sure that money is flowing, as long as that flowing it's coming back in, it doesn't matter how much is going out because it's coming back in, and we're
30 seconds.
Energizing the economy. So Medi-Cal is very important basis of the United States, and it needs to be strengthened.
Thank you. Hear from Jasmine.
Thank you for asking. So one of the things that I want people to understand is that universal healthcare, Medicare for all, is such an important issue that we can't allow people with vague platforms to downplay how important this is. My universal healthcare policy is already posted. Part A covers inpatient care, skilled nursing, hospice care, respite care, and home health care. Pain management is not limited to a formulary anymore. It's between a person and their doctor. Our Part B includes lab work, x-rays, preventative care, doctor visits, surgery, ambulances, transportation. Pain management, again, is between the person and their doctor. We also provide in Part C, vision, hearing, and dental. It's no more reimbursement. It'll be actual coverage. People need access to dental care within their zip code. They need access to safe use centers across the country within this zip code. Right now in America, Atlanta has one level 3 trauma hospital. That is unacceptable. In Alabama, there are literal counties that do not have hospitals at all. So my universal healthcare plan doesn't just take Medicare for all to the next level. It expands services, it increases staff, and it makes sure that every resident in Turtle Island is covered without increasing their taxes. Thank you.
And Jason for Jill.
Thank you. Obviously, we have a healthcare crisis in America. We are the only developed nation in the world that does not have some form of universal healthcare. The Congressional Budget Office showed in a study a couple of years ago that if we had universal health care, we'd save somewhere around $430 billion a year. That money is going to the inefficiencies of the private insurance industry. It is going into shareholder pockets and CEO salaries. So we seek certainly to eliminate the private insurance industry, and we would like to take the pharmaceutical industry into public ownership. Most of the pharmaceuticals that are developed using public technology, and most people don't know this, but Baylor University developed 2 COVID vaccines while Pfizer and Moderna were making tons of money off of the COVID vaccines, and we're glad that people had the vaccines, but Baylor University developed 2 of them and gave the patents to underdeveloped countries so that they could produce their own vaccines. We should have done something like that in this country. And I think a lot of the distrust in the healthcare system, especially around COVID, has to do with the profit-making potential for the pharmaceutical industry. So we believe healthcare is a human right. We absolutely have to have healthcare services for everybody in rural areas. That would be part of our green economy, is to build those service centers and to have the education available to
30
train
seconds.
doctors and nurses. And I would even go one step further that we should have a system more like the UK's NHS, where there are no private hospitals and there are no private practices, and that everything is under one regulatory body so that we have equity, we have true equity in the system. Healthcare is a human right.
Thank you. Next question. How will your campaign promote direct democracy and the expansion of a more participatory political and economic structure? And fingers crossed I got this right. I think Jasmine's next.
So the way that we have been promoting more one-for-one democracy is educating everyone that we speak to. We know that we promote ranked choice voting and approval choice voting. We know that it needs to be one for one. We are currently educating a lot of different varying ages of people around the country about electoral politics in general. So we are telling people, because we're campaigning we want to win, we're explaining the National Interstate Voter Compact to them. We're explaining, for example, in Ohio, they're trying to remove ranked choice voting. So we're rallying people to help the local Green Party there with protecting that right. We are making sure that people understand how it works in politics, right? We are educating our base. One of the things that we are talking about and we're meeting people with is blockchain. We do believe that we have the ability, should you elect someone like me in office, that we can have a one-for-one voting system. We already know blockchain exists. The same way we protect your money is the same way we could protect your vote. It's just a lack of will. And most people want one-for-one voting. That is why the National Interstate Voter Compact has become so far, because those states have already committed to giving the person who wins the popular vote their electoral votes. And that has been helping us along the campaign trail. And we hope to keep doing that. We do hope to put out a policy about how this would work. We are meeting with engineers to do so. And we hope that that'll be released sometime by August. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Jason.
Thank you. So right now, the majority of people don't believe the government serves their needs, and many don't vote at all. In fact, as I was signature collecting here in Idaho today on the local college campuses, what I would consider is a seemingly well-educated man, maybe he was even a professor, he didn't want to sign the form, and he said, "I'm apolitical." Well, the truth is that nobody is truly apolitical, because the decisions made in government affect everyone. And it is a tragedy in what is supposed to be the quote unquote greatest democracy in the world, that so many people feel that the government doesn't serve them and don't exercise their right to vote that many people fought for. Now, voting isn't everything. There are many other things that we need to do besides voting, but we should be encouraging everybody to vote and exercise that option. And what we are trying to do is give them better options. And so we support, obviously, ranked choice voting because it is a part of the Green Party platform. But we also support the ballot initiative process. The ballot initiative process is direct democracy. Only about half of the states have a ballot initiative process. And we would like to see all states have a ballot initiative process. So maybe it's something that the federal government should do. Is to sort of mandate that all states that have a ballot. I'm just kind of speaking off the top of my head because of my experience in Washington State, where we do have a successful ballot initiative process, and looking at states like Missouri, where they have been able to pass progressive laws
30
in
seconds.
the ballot initiative process, even though their state government is very conservative. And we also support abolishing the Electoral College, which was instituted specifically so that the ruling class could thwart the will of the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to Jorge.
Strengthening the value of the people by signing petitions, by getting them to practice inclusion, to participate, that their voice matters. People don't vote because it doesn't count. And it's true. We're not in a democracy. It's called parsé syntax grammar. Let me give you an example. You're an undocked vessel trespassing in a harbor. This is a courtroom. If you're not docked and you open your mouth, you're committing perjury against yourself. So you're really upsetting the judge. The only way to be docked is through an attorney, and you have to pay him. It's your toll. So this structure is not a democracy, is it? We got to educate the people, but we got to do it through petitions. They need to participate. We got to force Congress. Congress doesn't listen to you. We're too busy. But if you get the petitions, they have to answer. So we need to drive the people and have a machine hit it and wind it up and hit it again, do it again until it breaks. So we got to get the people to participate. They do have a value. You can make a difference, but you got to sign the documents. You got to sign the papers. You got to create a value for yourself. Get the fear out of your life and stand up for yourself and believe in yourself. If you really care, sign the petitions. So in my website, there's a lot of petitions there. Free the people, free yourself, participate, strengthen your value, strengthen the American dollar.
30 seconds.
Let inclusion and participation to force accountability. This is what democracy is. Again, inclusion, transparency, and accountability. This is what democracy is. Thank you.
Thank you all. Next question. What immediate actions would you take to combat climate change? We have Jason for Jill first.
Okay. Immediate actions to slow down and hopefully reverse the current trajectory of global warming, which, if you have seen the recent charts on temperature anomalies, are far greater this year in January and February than they were at the beginning of 2023. We are in real crisis. We have on some days eclipsed that +2 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial times. And so things are really kind of starting to spiral out of control with polar ice melt, with the Colorado River drying up, with the aquifers in the desert Southwest drying up. And, you know, we really face a global threat of rising tides that is going to engulf many of the poorest countries in the world. Countries like Bangladesh could be entirely engulfed, awash, and that we're talking about 300 million people who are going to need to go somewhere. And so we are facing a climate refugee problem in the future. So we do have to tackle this immediately. What we can do is eliminate fossil fuel use and put all of our efforts towards renewable, sustainable, and clean energy in all of its various forms. And I do want to make sure that people understand that we do not see nuclear energy as part of that future. We have to change our food production systems to local, organic, permaculture types of farming that reduce the need for long distance transportation and are renewing to the soil and to the
30
air,
seconds.
the oceans. And we have to have transportation systems that are non or very limited polluting. The biggest factor in pollution reduction is going to be rail, commuter rail, freight rail, as well as long distance high-speed rail. In fact, the long distance high-speed rail is actually less important than making sure we have good public transportation so that people can get cars off the road locally. And if you're in a high traffic area, city like Atlanta or where I am in Seattle, you know people sitting in traffic for hours a day is terrible. Thank you.
Thank you. Go to Jorge next.
The patents, the constraints of the conglomerate monopolization corporations got to be broken. In 1918, Henry Ford, it's got an engine. It's in the ground. It heats the exhaust so hot, it reformulates the carbon monoxide into an ethyl dioxide or something. It's recombustible. It's almost perpetual. And they're going to tell you it doesn't exist, that we can't be more efficient. They're lying to you. They have it and they're sitting on it. Dennis McCauley, a gentleman I met 12 years ago, built the same engine. I met him here in Fresno, California. He died 6 months ago. They took him and showed him that engine. He's got a lot of patents. He's got a factory here, a plastic production factory. Well, they forced him to not use it. So they're going to keep him tied up. This information needs to be exposed. It's there. There's no reason looking for anywhere else. Geek reactors are there. GEET, G-E-E-T reactors, pop engines. A lot of practical, a lot of engines are running on water. Things can be changed now. Implementing the water vortex implosion system, cleaning all the water through all the planet, through all the hospitals, all the schools, all the water disposing plants, reseeding the clouds. Water is not a part of life, it is life. Once you get some intelligence and education on that, then you're going to learn how to appreciate it and how to empower it. Water implosion. So there's a lot of wonderful technology. It's there.
30 seconds.
free solar light into the homes with fiber optics. So there's practical green red availability technology here now. Demand for it. Look for it. Ask for it. It's there.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from Jasmine.
I jumped the gun before. I apologize. So just so you know, under a Sherman administration, the United States would no longer be purchasing, producing, or otherwise acquiring fossil fuels. They belong in the ground. That includes mined oil, gasoline, fossil diesel, coal, natural gas, and non-biopetroleum. We will be switching to more of an aluminum glass-based society. This includes removing latex from medical facilities and restaurants as well. We will be relying on renewable energy. Smaller designs of wind turbines on city buildings, vertical double helix wind turbines, because that is different on skyscrapers. We're going to solar panels in places that match that, and we will be using damless hydropower. We're phasing out hydroelectric dams. We will be changing the way that we do our farming. We have an agricultural policy that will be coming out in 2 weeks to give you details on how vertical farming in America would look under a Sherman administration. One of the other things that we'll be doing is making sure that neighborhoods are mixed walkable. That requires them to be ADA compliant. So people with disabilities have access to their communities and they're not trapped inside. We also need to make sure by doing that, making everything ADA compliant, we go ahead and consider using kinetic pads so people can walk and generate energy. We have to use what we have. I did hear one of the other candidates talking about how we were going to build more homes for the houseless. We don't need to do that. That's a waste of our resources and a waste of our environmental space. We should be fixing up already
30
built
seconds.
structure and providing people with what they need. We do need a high-speed rail to go across the country. But more importantly, we need to listen to the indigenous community because under a Sherman administration, I'm giving the land back. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. What is your position on Israel-Palestine conflict and what priorities would you have as president, obviously, in relation to that? And we'll hear from Jorge first.
Right. How they're handling it is all wrong, as we can see. I think we already know it's not a hard question here. First of all, the president of Israel he's got 3 charges on him. He's manipulating the press, so he knows what he's doing. They're going to oust him. He's killing all these people in the name of what? Creating all this chaos, and it's got to stop. It's got to be ironed out. We need to separate. We got to go in there to find out what's really going on and negotiate. The press is not going to show this. And there's a cross from what we know, what we think we understand, from what is actually happening. And there's a problem. There's a breach right there. We should have not gone into Palestine what it is. I've already wrote the Constitution for Palestine. It needs to be taken into place. It's there for you. Take it, use it. The military, their education, the trade, their protection, safeguard, and their value is all there. So they need to be industrialized. They need to be either their own state or their own country. They have to have their rights, and until then, it's going to continue the way it is. So we need to take a step back and be very objective about what's going on, and not let there's 3 truths, not let our personal truths versus political truths that we have to acknowledge and accept. This data, we don't know what's going on.
30 seconds.
And how we're going to make a decision if we don't know what's going on? Look at the data, but we've got to be objective and don't take this data close. You're going to make good, sound decisions. The people in Palestine shouldn't be hurting the way they are. And the way Israel is handling it is wrong. And now we're seeing all of the chaos behind it. I would go and remove all of that and stop these terrorists from acting, because I'm going to find out what they're really fighting for.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from Jasmine.
Apologies. So in order to free Palestine, we have to end the occupation in Palestine. My foreign policy, like I said, is already posted. We will not be giving governments money for war. We will not be maintaining allyships that hurt marginalized people. When I'm elected, I will be cutting all funding for Israel. I will be cutting all funding for any projects that America is participating in that oppresses marginalized groups. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Over to Jason for Jill.
I will start out by saying free Palestine. What is happening in Gaza and the West Bank right now is obviously crimes against humanity, war crimes. We support the ICJ findings that Israel must provide humanitarian aid, and under those rulings, and we don't feel that the ICJ ruling went far enough. They should have called it a genocide. It is a genocide. And most humanitarian organizations around the world are calling what's happening right now a genocide. And so as such, we would ensure that the United States was in partnership with other countries, and we put out press releases to this effect, redirecting our efforts to ensuring that humanitarian aid. We certainly would end aid to Israel, not just military aid, but all foreign aid to Israel. It's hard to sit here and think
30
about,
seconds.
yeah, it's hard to sit here and think about what is happening on the other side of the world and feel like we're powerless to stop it. But we do not support Zionism. We want a one-state solution where all residents of that state are free and equal and not living under apartheid rule. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our last question that we had submitted. Tell us about your tax policy proposals, particularly how you would remedy the enormous wealth inequality problem. And then we're starting with, oh no, I've messed up my thing. Who are we starting with? Should be
I
Jorge.
believe Jasmine.
Oh, Jasmine. Okay, you're right. Sorry, had a little note there and I messed that up. Jasmine, thank you.
Thank you so much for this question. So what we do in America right now is we tell Americans, pull yourselves up by bootstraps, which don't exist. We are going to switch our current tax policy, which for companies is more of a Keynesian model. We throw tons of money at them and we don't hold them accountable. Whereas for Americans, we follow more of a Hayek model. You've got to do it on your own. You got to save, you got to suffer. My tax policy is already posted at jasminesherman.com. And it is very long. So I would suggest you use the audiobook feature to have it go through all the details with you. But essentially, what we are doing is providing Americans with money back in their pockets. Their universal basic income is untaxed. Corporations that have not been paying taxes under the duopoly, we go back 37 years with our triple bottom line accounting policy to get and recoup some of our losses, because environmental costs and human costs should be factored into the bottom line. Those funds will be redistributed to other Americans. The other thing that we do is we switch the way you do your taxes. You get your money back quarterly, like other countries do. And this would eliminate the relationship with TurboTax and H&R Block, which is the only reason you do your taxes once at the end of the year. With my tax policy, your taxes will get your money back in your pocket every quarter. And it's not you filing it. Your employer already files your taxes or reports your taxing to the government. So we just allow them to do that every quarter without you having to do anything. By making sure your universal basic income is untaxed, it fosters new business opportunities and it makes people feel okay about trying things and engaging with this economy.
30 seconds.
And I was going to end there because it is so long, but it is in writing for you. It is an audiobook feature. Please look into it. We do eliminate property taxes so we can fund education. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Jason.
Thank you. So this is actually the one question that I cannot speak fully competently to, because I am not the economist who is writing the platform in terms of tax policy. But what I will say is we need to eliminate the Social Security cap on taxes. Vast wealth inequality is inherently undemocratic. So we have to have poor people raised up, and we have to take the wealthiest people and bring them down because they have far too much control. Essentially, what wealth inequality does is it gives certain individuals and corporate entities way too much control over our democracy. Therefore, it's inherently undemocratic. We need to raise corporate tax rates, and we need to make sure that that money is being used to provide services for people. And I will say in a couple of weeks, the policy should be up on the website and you'll be able to read them more clearly. But obviously we need a very different tax structure than we have right now. We need progressive taxes and not regressive taxes.
Thank you. I'm turning over to Jorge.
The restructuring the tax system, tax limits, if the money's not in the United States, it's not good. We got to support, I want people to put savings bonds and inflation bonds. I want to support the American dollar. I want the banks from Switzerland, all that money needs to come here. That money needs to flow into the United States. If it's not flowing in the United States, it's going to be cut, it's going to be sanctioned, it's going to be taxed. It's got to have a balance here. If it's not flowing in, the engine's not going to run, is it? They're going to stall, forcing these big companies like Amazon, Walmart, and all these big, they got no customer service. What are they doing with the money? They're not giving it back into the economy. They're just being stingy because they act like they're protecting it. And if you take it away from them, what are we fighting for here? What kind of value? Is it life or is it money? What are they serving? It's supposed to be American, the Constitution, not their pocket. And so taxing the rich, making these big corporations supply jobs that forces money back into the economy, it has to be there. And if they don't, then they're not American. We got to set disciplinary action rules to make this economy strong. We got to break the lobbyists. There are going to be no more lobbyists. We're going to restructure these guys to make sure they're participating. To make it, we got to have a balance here, don't we? Now, Americans working, and they got to get what they're earning back. We want customer service. You know what I mean? If I don't like my hamburger, I want another one because I paid for it. And I don't want that American right be taken away from the people. What we're paying for needs to have value, needs to be tangible. And if it's not tangible, it don't need to cost that much money. All this Google advertisements and this frivolous paying money for, it doesn't exist. It's a facade. And we got to wake up and not practice with them. We're going to suffocate them. Like I said, we're going to stop, pull, drop them. They're going to weaken in. Corporations are going to tear them apart. And we're going to restructure this whole thing. So stick with me. We have a new economy. I'll break this system down quick.
Thank you. So I want to thank all our candidates and candidate stand-in for Jill Stein. We know that we only kind of touched on very small part of their platforms. We know that the three of you have been working tirelessly to reach out to Green parties, both traveling, having virtual meetings. I know you're going to continue that. But what we want to move now is to closing statements. There'll be 3 minutes each. You can certainly give your website to people if you, I'm sure people have looked you up, or if you're able to put it in the chat yourself. I think you're allowed to do that as co-host. And so we're going to go the opposite order: Jorge, Jason for Jill, and Jasmine.
If you want to change, if you want a difference, if you want somebody that knows how, that's been there, that started from nothing and created and had a path, you're going to want to choose me. You need someone that you're going to trust and has that experience and not misguide you. I'm not here to be rich. I'm not here to be famous. I'm here to sacrifice, show experience, because I'm an upset American, just like you. I'm not getting back what I'm putting out. There's all these interference and barriers in the world. And we got to have an attorney to make it a value for yourself. I don't think so. Your word means something, and I want to hear it. But we got to all start participating together to make this difference. You got to move. You got to group. You got to have a goal. Get up that damn hill. Shut up. It cries. It hurts. But when you get there, you didn't know you could do it, did you? But you got to be pushed. You got to be driven to excel. You didn't know what you're capable of, American people. But put a little bit of pressure on you, and you could blossom real nice. So vote for me, Jorge Zavala, at votejz.org. If you want a difference, if you want this to stand and have the power and the energy to make this difference, there's a lot of ugly people out there. You don't trust them. I don't either. I gotta see right through them. And you know that I am, and I'm capable of doing it. So vote for me. I'll fight for you. I'll make the difference happen quick. Because if we don't have that time, we're at a crossroads here. So thank you for listening. And remember, vote for me if you want a difference.
Thank you. Thank you. Jason.
Thank you. Jill Stein has been a proven leader in the Green Party for a long time, former presidential candidate. We are gaining support of communities all around the country. We are meeting with Muslim communities, indigenous communities, Black communities, disabled communities, LGBTQ communities, and we are earning their support. And I will just close by saying we look forward to being in New York to gather the 45,000 signatures that you need to make sure that the Green Party is on the ballot. And we will see you in April, and hopefully Jill will have an opportunity to come back and speak with you when she's feeling better. So I appreciate you allowing me to stand in for her. Thank you.
Thank you. Jasmine.
Thank you for allowing me to be here with you this evening. And I want to thank you in advance for going to my platform and reviewing all of the policies that are already out there. We have been working tirelessly since 2021, knowing that this is something that we wanted to do, knowing that we have a finite amount of time to demonstrate to people that we are different. We are not like other politicians that just say random things and have no tangible policies. The younger generations don't want that. They want to see what leadership can do for them. They want to know when and how things are going to impact them. And I hope that you guys take the time to realize that there is substance out there and people are ready to participate in our electoral process if there's something to vote for, an actual tangible. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing everyone. If you are someone that wants to attend the free and equal debate in New York, or you have access to Chelsea Studios, we do have a contest where we are giving away 10 tickets. If you make a video and you tag us in it explaining who you want to vote for, it doesn't have to be me, and why you want to be there. We think this is a great way to generate some publicity for the event and for the Green Party as well. So please participate if you are interested. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you all. I'm going to turn it over to Peter.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank our three candidates and candidate stand-in for joining us tonight. This has been wonderful and informative. And I want to thank everyone who is here tonight or maybe is going to be watching the recording. We appreciate that you are taking an interest in the presidential nominating process here in New York State for the Green Party. And I want to touch very briefly on that. And explain a couple of things. One, we are going to be sending out information very shortly about that. And that is going to be related to how you can participate as a registered Green voting in our presidential convention and primary. So you will get information about that. You should go to our website, gpny.org. And sign up as a volunteer and for our mailing list. You should get that information. We'll also be putting information out on social media. You can follow us on Facebook, Green Party of New York State, or on X, formerly Twitter, at GPNY. We're also on Instagram. So any of those ways, we'll be getting information out very shortly. We are going to be having an in-person convention in Troy, New York on Saturday, March 23rd, and Greens are welcome to join us there. So we'll get that information out as well. And finally, what I would like to just briefly touch on is that no matter who our candidate is, we are going to have to be petitioning starting in the middle of April to get that person on the ballot. We need 45,000 signatures in 42 days. It's one of the most difficult processes, if not the most difficult in the nation, because of what the Democrats and Republicans did to independent parties like the Greens just a couple of years ago. So we need your help. We need all hands on deck. And so we'd like you to sign up to volunteer and to commit to helping us get those signatures. It's going to be a process, and we're going to help you through it. But we need your commitment to collecting signatures for us in that 42-day period that's coming up. So again, I want to thank you. I want to thank our candidates. I want to encourage you to go to our website, gpny.org, and our social media. Follow us, sign up, let us know that you're excited to volunteer and to help get a Green candidate on the ballot this year. So thank you again, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.